Ken Harbaugh here in Kyiv on assignment for the MeidasTouch Network at the Kyiv War Museum with a ton of wreckage from the war in Ukraine, including Hind helicopters, turrets from Russian tanks, and one thing in particular that I want to show you because it's why I'm here. This mural above the museum, there's a reason that's written in English, Ukraine, the shield of Europe, because it's a message to us. I spoke to a Ukrainian soldier today who, in the best English he could muster, said, "Without America, Ukraine dies." Thank you so much for making time to speak with us.
Sure.
You're an American volunteer here in Ukraine.
Yes.
You've rotated to the front multiple times. Give us your perspective on the situation on the ground right now in Ukraine.
I was with the drone reconnaissance unit, and so my role was to, when the drones would fly in, I had about 20 seconds or so to switch the battery out, perform a procedure called anonymization, which basically knocks out the GPS, and then as soon as my 20-25 seconds were done, the drone would fly out again to conduct its reconnaissance, and in some cases would drop loading munitions.
You served in the U.S. Navy as a chief.
I did.
I take it you understand the connection between Ukraine's fight for freedom and your service in the U.S. Navy.
I do.
Why are those two connected? What are the stakes here for us?
Well, as you probably know as much as I do, we understand as a part of service, we understand that we are kind of the bulwark for democratic values in our own country. And for me, since 2016, I've traveled here to Ukraine, and the people that I've met, the children in particular, really touched my heart. So my affections grew with each visit, and so also conversations that I've had with Ukrainians. And one, they love the idea of American democratic values, and they look to us as an example, and that encourages me. And I recognize that the idea that a person should be able to wake up in the morning and do whatever they want to do. If they want to work, if they want to go to school and raise their children, it should not be impeded by what I would call dark forces.
Yeah. I saw a mural earlier today, a giant painting of Ukraine with Russian missiles flying towards it on one side and the rest of Europe on the other. And the title in English, obviously meant for us, was Ukraine is Europe's shield. Can you talk about the stakes of what would happen if Putin prevails here?
I saw a video once, and the video was a boy was being interviewed about some questions about geographical parts of Russia, and the question was, what is Russia's borders? And Putin said, Russia has no borders. And so that response in and of itself kind of gives you an idea of exactly the threat that the rest of Europe and NATO in particular, in addition, the threat that they face, because the person on the adversary says, if he says there's no borders, that means that everything is up for conquest.
How do your Ukrainian friends feel about your service and about America writ large helping their cause?
So when the vote was cast to provide the supplemental assistance to Ukraine a couple weeks ago, I have a number of texts that I keep on my phone, and they were very thankful for this vote finally coming through. 2 months earlier, my first unit, we were having lunch, and they had some doubt and some concern and some anxiety about whether or not this would come through. And I liken this time that the Ukrainians were in this state of anxiety to what I call the Valley Forge moment. Mm-hmm. As you know, our country, 2 years into its Revolutionary War, had its back to the wall, and they retired the Valley Forge. And a German colonel, comes in and reconstitutes this Continental Army, and he taught them just basic values of militarship, and it helped them to prevail to what we now know as the United States. So I told my comrades that we are having a Valley Forge moment right now.
How damaging was the 7-month delay in aid that came about as a result not of strategy or good faith disagreements, but pure partisan politics in the U.S.?
So the impact was the anxiety. So every Ukrainian that I spoke to would ask me as if I had the ear on Congress about whether or not, in my opinion, this thing would go through. So the anxiety level for the country as a whole was extremely high. I have friends in the West, friends in the North and the South, all were sending me questions via text, asking me, Lance, do you think that the vote will go through? And so my response obviously wanted to be yes, because I believe in hope. But there was a moment for me where I too had some doubt as well. So the anxiety level was high. Certainly the fear was there, and the uncertainty was there as well.
This episode of Burn the Boats is brought to you by Manukora honey. This miracle of nature just fell into my lap at the perfect time. It's a rare super honey that is 100% natural and has some unique properties. Manukora makes Manuka honey, a single origin honey that comes from New Zealand, where the bees only feed on the nectar of the Manuka tea tree, making honey that is pure, rich, complex, with a creamier texture that is on a completely different level from the normal honey you find at the supermarket. You can use it as you would any other honey, but what puts the super in Manuka honey is it's rich in oxidants and prebiotics, 3 times more compared to regular honey. On top of that, it contains an antibacterial compound called MGO that can be found exclusively in Manuka honey. The bottom line is that these nutrients support your optimal immune and digestive health, and it's delicious. Manukora sent me a jar and squeeze bottle of their MGO 850 Plus Manuka honey, their best-selling honey. The 850 Plus honey has a creamy caramel texture that is unlike anything I've ever tried. Just grab a spoonful out of the jar and I put it in my favorite beverage, or I squeeze some out on toast or oatmeal. It's delicious. Manukora is savory, delicious, and truly the best honey I've had. If you head to manukora.com/boats, you can get $25 off their starter kit, which comes with the MGO 850 Plus Manuka honey, a free travel pack of honey sticks, a free wooden spoon, and also a free guidebook. It's the perfect gift for a loved one, no matter the season. I love the jar and squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or need a quick snack running errands, and they are the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym, especially this time of year. That's manukora.com/boats to get $25 off your starter kit. This is just the ultimate honey. Indulge and try some honey with superpowers from Manukora.
From the frontline perspective, having been there, what is the effect on the Ukrainian fighter of that delay in American weapons?
So I would tell you this. So when I hear your question, I'm thinking about when I was in Donetsk when President Biden came a surprise visit to Ukraine.
Can we pause there for a second?
Sure.
Because that is the door that President Biden and President Zelensky walked out of during that visit. Mm-hmm. That's the visit you're talking
yes,
about.
in February. Yeah. February, I believe it was Valentine's Day 2023. And that Friday, my executive officer asked me at the time, because they were meeting, they had the G7 meeting in Warsaw, and the question was posed to be about my XO, is Joe Biden going to come to Kyiv? And I just said, I don't know. I said, if he did, I'd be surprised. So as my luck would have it, I was tasked with going on mission on Valentine's Day. So we were conducting reconnaissance missions, and the guys were loading up a 1 kilogram bomb on a drone. And my XO runs down into our position and said, Joe Biden is in Kyiv. And everybody was so excited that my comrade, one of my comrades made tea. And I have a video, I sent it to you, where he says, have yourself to some tea, because they were just so excited that even if he was just here for 2 hours, the impact of the president coming here to show support, stand side by side with President Zelensky, meant a whole lot to him.
Can you double tap that point, the importance of America's moral support? I mean, weapons are one thing and absolutely essential, but the reassurance it gives Ukrainians that the mightiest nation in the history of the world has their back.
Absolutely. So my first tour here, before I reported to my unit, I had to go to Cherkasy, which is in the south. It's about 2.5 hours. And I went to visit a military hospital, and these chaplains had kind of gave me the rounds through the different wards, and I met some veterans. And I'll send you a picture of this one veteran. And when it was told to him that I was an American, that I was coming to help defend Ukraine, he shook my hand and he said, "Because you are here, you will win the war." I mean, just because as an American and as a veteran that I am here, his hope is that his confidence in one person as an American, just as an American, convinced him or gave him hope that Ukraine will prevail in the end.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Between now and the election, I'm going to highlight a handful of critical pro-democracy efforts that I want you to know about. The first of these is Veterans for Responsible Leadership, or VFRL. It's an organization on the front lines of the battle to protect our democratic safeguards and to hold accountable those who would dismantle them. VFRL's number one priority between now and November is preventing Donald Trump from being reelected. As an organization led by veterans, VFRL is bringing to bear all that experience and credibility to persuade other veterans and military family members that a vote for Donald Trump is a vote that undermines the very Constitution that those in the military swore to uphold. Here's where VFRL needs your help. If you are a veteran or a family member of one, and if you're looking for ways to make meaningful contributions between now and November, go to VFRL.org. The team there is working on a number of critical initiatives that will make a difference in the coming presidential election. But they need more veteran voices and more volunteers. If you're up for it, go to VFRL.org and sign up. I'll have more updates in the coming months on what they have planned, but trust me, it'll be worth your time. Thanks.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.